Alright, it's a continuation of where we left off with the circular clock. This will be part 2, episode 14. Alright, we're going to struggle with the releasing the resistors here. And then we're going to jump over. I had quite a bit of trouble getting this pack open. Mainly because I was trying not to spill it all over the place, which would not have been great. Alright, so I skipped ahead. I've got them out. Alright. So, we're going to flip a few of them that flipped over. Alright, we're going to figure out where our resistors need to go. Alright, let's get the soldering iron. And we're going to put solder on one side, on one pad on one side of the resistor for every one of the resistors we're going to put on. That way we tack it on one side before we solder the other side. And I'm going to repeat this for all of the resistors. Alright, now we're soldering the resistors on. We skipped ahead a bit. Again, this is done by tacking down one side, heating up where I dropped the solder, and then basically tacking the component in place with that solder, removing the soldering iron so that it cools before I release it with the forceps. And we'll repeat this for each one of the resistors. And of course, trying to get them as flat as I can. I don't want them standing. I don't want them lifted too much from the pads. It'll cause problems with the solder joints when I come back and solder it. Alright, we repeated that for a while. Now we're going to work on soldering down the other side. Because now we've got all the resistors placed on the board, soldered on one side. We're now going to come back and solder them on their other side. Alright, so we're now going to get started with the other resistors. I do one value at a time, rather than having both of them spilled all over the desk at one time. I'll just take out the ones that I'm doing. Excuse the squeaky chair. And carefully peeling back the plastic on the strip, and there we go. Dump them on the table. One of them landed on the board. Figuring out where we can put it. Now this one I'm going to solder down one side with the part in place. If you like doing that, you can. I usually have a lot of trouble when I do this for whatever reason. And since I had the part in my hand, I decided to go ahead and place it. And we're going to turn around and solder the other side. Now we're just going to go ahead and put solder on all of the resistor pads. Or we may have actually already done that. Yeah, I think we have now at this point. We're going to take a resistor, we're going to tack it on one side. Yeah, I'm doing this on a black silicone mat that I got from Spark Fun. It protects the desk from being burnt by the soldering iron. Those little, you see the little indentations toward the top, they're rather handy. When I've had a surface mount part or two that I had liberated prematurely, I would drop it in one of those little squares to hold it until I needed it. That actually worked out fairly well. Now, I haven't had these mats but about a month now. I really haven't done that much soldering. But so far so good. They've worked well. Now I have shortened this considerably. I believe this worked out to be about maybe 3 hours of video total. I've shaved this particular segment, this section down to, I think it's less than 30 minutes. Yeah, looks like it's around 26 or so. I'm sorry. 23 maybe. Now I've got a couple more kits that I'm going to put together. Probably going to do this since I don't really have an audience yet. I'm just going to record them, edit them down to something reasonably reasonable, hopefully, and publish them as multi-parts rather than just one big 1 or 2 hour video. Perhaps in the future we can do something live on a weekend or something where we do one of these kits. But I'm not sure that I want to keep doing kits. This is just ran across a bunch of kits on eBay, not eBay, but Amazon. Decided to give them a try. I should look on eBay, see if there's anything cool. In fact, while you're watching that, I can go take a look. Now I was looking at... Right. It is cute. They call it welding training. Let's see. Look where we are right now. We're soldering down the capacitors. Those should be the 20 picofarad capacitors, I believe. There'll be 2 by each one of the crystals. One crystal is the smaller one for the real-time clock, and then the other one is the for the processor, which is the Atmel AT89552. And I'm going to clean it up with a little bit of, well, I'm going to use some solder wick to clean it up a little bit. Yeah, they got a number of POV kits. They're just not that big. Now I'll think about it. I don't think this is what I want. Transparent kit. Some of these already have. See. Yeah, I believe I just placed a 0.1 microfarad capacitor. There is only 2 of those. C5 was one of them. I think the other one's underneath the socket. Yep. see what we're doing now. Alright, looks like I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do next. Grab another capacitor. Oh. Yeah, I believe that's the one of the resistors. So there's components, there's surface mount components on both sides of this board, and there are actual resistors on the other side. Although it appears I'm still working on the front side. Momentary blackout. We'll be right back. And we're back. We're touching up. Well, actually, we're probably fixing up one of my boo-boos. I think on this, I got the 0.1 microfarad capacitor swapped with the 20 picofarad. I should have known better. Well, yes. The 20 picofarad is very commonly used around the crystals. In fact, they're kind of necessary. Oh, another clock kit. Looking for something cool. Alright, so we're dumping out the remaining transistors. We're going to solder them on the battery side of the board now. And we're going to use the same technique as before. We'll put down solder on one of the pads and then put the part down and then solder the remaining two legs. We're stuck with one of the parts. It tried to stand up on me. There we go. Just shake some excess solder off the tip. And again, I'm flipping over the resistors so that I can have all the numbers facing outward. It wouldn't matter if they were installed upside down or the print toward the board, but just, yeah, I like them with the numbers up so I can read them. It makes it easier to double check your work if it doesn't work. And my initial power up, which you'll see in the next video, yeah, things didn't quite go as I had hoped. But it turned out not to be a big deal. So we'll have a nice video of it working at the end of the third installment. done so far. Got a few more resistors to put on the board. There's one that I've pulled off earlier. Same technique as before. These third joints aren't exactly terribly pretty, but they are functional. Yep. Alright. We're gone for around coming up on 22 minutes. And I'm looking for parts I haven't soldered down. Well, actually, I believe I was actually adding the solder so I could tack these parts down. Then we'll start tacking them. On the next video, we'll be doing the through-hole components, which will include the bag of LEDs. And I'm using a magnifier and reading glasses in order to see the component for my tip placement. Alright, we'll continue on this on part 3, which will be the final installment for this kit.